Hello, welcome to another episode of On the Floor with Wayne and Rob. I'm Wayne Highlander, National Sales Manager for Bona Adhesives.
And I'm Rob Johnson from Bona Training.
How we doing, Rob?
Pretty good. How's it going, buddy?
Got your power shirt on today. Red is
yes.
It's a power color.
Tiger Woods Sunday golf shirt. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of the new hat?
What is this? It's very nice, actually. Very nice, yeah.
Bona has finally made a hat that fits my head.
Wow.
How's that?
That's saying something.
I got two of them.
And they said it couldn't be done.
It's
nice.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Rob, the world's happiest man is a Tibetan monk named Matthew Ricard. He's a 66-year-old Tibetan monk. And the way that they know he's the happiest man in the world is that they studied, like the neurosurgeons do studying of brain waves and stuff like this. And then they got to this guy, and it was absolutely positively off the charts, his brain waves. And they almost thought it wasn't real. They retested him. And they afterwards, then, the testing, and they realized this guy must be the happiest man in the world. But not anymore. Now, since Bona came out with the diamond sanding plates, I'll tell you what, Rob, anybody who's ever sanded an aluminum oxide floor is going to be blown away.
Wait a minute. Wait. Get back. What was this monk's name?
Matthew Ricard, a 66-year-old Tibetan monk.
And he's from Tibet.
Well, he's a Tibetan monk, so I'm going to guess that he's probably, yes.
Monks can't fool around, right? They can't have a girlfriend?
No, but what they do is they do a lot of meditation. And
is that what they call it? That's the code word for it?
It's
meditation?
Meditation, Rob.
Okay.
And they think that leads to a lot of his happiness. And he reaches places in his mind that a lot of people don't get to. And I'll tell you something else, Rob. I was thinking about this actually early this morning. I was sitting down in my backyard, and the sun was starting to come up. And for just a brief moment, I was content. And I thought, what a great feeling. And that I think I'm always trips me out, the people that are absolutely positively content in life. You know what I mean? Like people are just very, very happy with everything in their station in life and just very happy and content. It must be an incredible feeling.
What do you have not to be content about? Your life is a storybook.
Well, I grew up poor. I'm not saying I'm not content. I don't think I can allow myself to be content. I think while I'm working, I'm always trying to get better. And there's no place in there for contentment, I don't think.
Robbie, who's the most content guy you know?
You.
Thank you.
That's a problem.
We spent a lot of time together, and I've never met someone who just doesn't really get rattled by anything.
Wow.
Just shrugs it off. Whatever. It is what it is. Rob is the living, breathing motto of it is what it is. They should put that on his tombstone for real. It is Rob Johnson. Here lies Rob Johnson. It is what it is.
It is. It was what it was.
Yeah. There you go.
You can't beat a man with that kind of attitude. You know that, right? You can't beat a man like that.
A quarterback just got through 3 interceptions yesterday and just got completely rattled. And the other team used to play with him, used to be on the same team. And they said, like, what happened? They said, well, we played with this guy before. We know what happens when he gets a little pressure. I thought, wow. That's saying something. All right, who is this guy, Robbie? Who is this Robbie you speak of?
Oh, come on. This is the man. This is one of the greatest guys I ever worked with at Bona. I ain't kidding you. I love this kid.
How dare you?
I'm sorry, Wayne.
That's going to ruffle some feathers, I think.
I don't give a you know what, Robbie. Come on. Go on, Robbie. Tell him who you are.
All right. My name is Robbie Smith. I am an ex-contractor out of Virginia. I've been with Bona for about 3.5 years-ish now, if you can believe it, Rob. I started out at Bona in tech and training, just traveling the entire East with Rob Johnson, just road warriors on the road, teaching classes.
when he got hired, Wayne, when he got hired, we told him, yeah, you might be on the week, you might be on the road, maybe, 1 or 2 times a month. How many weeks did we do when you started in a row?
In a row, when we first started, they were a little bit more sporadic. After about, well, I was gonna say it's still in the beginning, but after about 2 months, we did a 28-week stretch straight on the road
Nice.
teaching
Smokes.
classes.
Wow.
And it
Yeah,
is,
let's see
I
the
won't
Rolling
lie,
Stones
it's
do
hard to
that.
kind of it is hard to keep the positive vibe, energy, whatever you want to call it, going for that long. It did start to show, I think, a little bit there at the end. We would just go to sit down for dinner at the end of the night and just not really even speak to each other. Like, oh, I just want to go home so bad. But it was fun. It was a good time. We got through it, and I think Rob and I schools. I mean, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I don't know if that'll ever be topped. A Rob and Robbie school. I think that was as good as it got.
Rob squared, baby.
In those days that on the 28-week stretch, you know how you could have been happy has been more like a Tibetan monk.
Right. Yeah, with all that meditation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So you're here.
Was I guess the delayed. Go ahead.
How? Okay. No, go ahead. Finish your thought.
Oh, I was going to say the time spent on those missed flights and layovers, I could have spent a little bit more time meditating and instead of just being angry.
Instead of being on Bumble.
Yes.
Oh, those days are behind me, Rob.
He's a kept man now.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right. I want to talk about these diamond sanding plates because I'll tell you what. I was with Jeremiah Strong at the RTC in Nashville, and several people that listen to this podcast right now were there at the same time. He ran those discs on the aluminum oxide floor. He turned the power drive on, and 15 seconds later he stopped, and we both looked at each other and shook our head like, "Holy smokes! Where have these been all our lives, man?" All the aluminum oxide jobs. And if anybody, you put the sandpaper on, it's aluminum oxide. At least I hope you do. And you're praying that you're going to get a lot out of the belt. And in 10 feet or so, you burn a belt up. And you're like, oh man, what am I in for? It's going to be a miserable day of sanding these floors. Or you can go to some systems out there that will kind of remove it, but they chew the living hell out of the floor to where you do have to aggressively sand it again. These things are incredible, man. So Robbie, you can kind of talk about your experience with these. Or did I just use up all your information?
No, I mean, I used to spend a lot of time the night before going to a pre-finished refinish, meditating, if you will, that there was some other way to take care of these just really tough to stand floors. And as you said, I mean, I've been on plenty of pre-finished refinish jobs where, you go 10, 20 feet and the belt is shot and you're just, as soon as you start, you're like, this is going to be a long, long job. This is going to be what I know I didn't charge enough. I'm going to lose my shirt on this one because I'm going to be here for 3 days trying to big machine this thing off. And we have the answer to that here. These pucks, not only are they easy to use, you don't have to buy a separate piece of equipment. It's just an attachment for the already great power drive. As we know, that already does help a lot with some of these tougher sand jobs. And as you mentioned before, the thing that impressed me the most about these discs is how they don't chew up the soft grain in these leafier species. As some of the other products that, we've been experiencing or, utilizing over the past several years to try to remove these tough UV cured and aluminum oxide finishes. It does not remove the bevel, but that's kind of the easy part once you get to it. Is at least I'm down to the raw wood and my machine has something to cut on. It's not just sliding across these tough to stand finishes and burning through 100 belts on 1,000 feet. These things get it done quick. They get it done efficiently, and somewhat cost effective as it's not a separate tool. It's just something that's already an attachment for the piece of equipment that you already own.
When I bought my house that I'm in right now, the 3 bedrooms upstairs was pre-finished floors, 3/4 to 1/4 pre-finished. And actually, they had no business installing them floors on that subfloor, man. I had to sand the hell out of them to get them flat and whatever. But sanding them floors, I still remember that was only like 8 years ago. And sanding that aluminum oxide off them floors, man, was brutal. And then it doesn't really bother me that they don't sand the bevels out, because some guys don't want to sand the bevels out.
Sure.
So that you can, that's your choice at that point, because you can put a sander on it anyhow. But yeah, I think of all the times we've been on jobs with aluminum oxide floors, man, trying to sand them, and just it's miserable. And if you've ever had them back to back, and you start reevaluating your decisions in life, of your career choice. I remember we had two back-to-back jobs over 1,500 square feet aluminum oxide. I should have spaced them out between to give us a bit of a break, but it is absolutely a brutal job. And I think the reason that some of the other things that you talked about, that we would try different systems out there, different machines, is in a desperate attempt to find something to get this off the floor. And this search is over, man. I mean, in 15 seconds, I'm not exaggerating. We looked at each other and went, "Oh my God, this is incredible." And so I thought, all right, well, maybe there's different aluminum oxides. Maybe it wasn't one of the really bad ones. And you guys have tested them on all kinds of floors, man. And this is sensational for us, though.
Yeah, the product management department that I'm in now, as I kind of failed to mention earlier, we spend a lot of time passing these around to contractors all over the US and Canada. And I spoke in depth with a lot of these guys that tested them, who have tried, different abrasives, different attachments, some chemical, ways to strip the finish. And, I heard the exact same thing from every single contractor that tested these are a lifesaver when it comes to refinishing pre-finished floors. I used to try to dodge these floors like they had the plague as a contractor. You go out and bid a job, you walk in, you see it's pre-finished, and I'm like, oof, man, it's just, now I wouldn't run from them at all. I take on as many as I can while I got the attachments, and use them to my advantage, and really just push them as hard as I could to, inform people that, there are better options than, tearing this old pre-finished floor out. It can be refinished easily, and it's just good for everyone.
Hey, Robbie, give us a step by step.
As far as refinishing these
As
pre-finished
far
floors,
as, yeah, weights on the power drive, no weights, steel plates on it. Give us
sure.
walking into
So
the job.
right now, as I said before, these are just a 6-inch disc that hook and loops onto your power drive. I recommend using the 1/4-inch interface pads in between them, just to give them a little bit of cushion. If you got something that's really tough, you might use them without the interface pads. But that's totally up to you. We are currently recommending not using any weights, as they are pretty aggressive. The scratch pattern is pretty aggressive, but it's not unmanageable. I would definitely recommend running over the pre-finished floor as you would typically run your power drive until it's clean. There's, everyone's got a different way of running their power drive, so I'm not going to say, which way is best. But once you get it cleaned up with these pucks, then you have your option of, do I want to bring my belt machine in here and just belt off these scratches, or do I just want to work my power drive up? And you have the option with that. So a lot of these guys nowadays that are just start to finish with their power drive, even with these, they don't have to worry about getting their belt machine back in, especially if they're not worried about cutting out some of those micro bevels. As far as, grit sequence, I think that's going to depend on, you as a contractor and what species you're working on. We have found that a lot of guys, though, were able to follow up the diamond sanding plates with like a 50 green to remove the scratches left behind. And then, of course, you just work your grits up in a standard, recommended sanding sequence from there.
That was my big question. What's our next cut after the diamond? So you recommended 50 green, whether it's on the power drive or the
Yep,
big machine.
correct.
Okay.
So you look at the cost of doing aluminum oxide floors. Eventually, after you do one or two of these, you get smart and realize you really got to charge a lot of money for these. And that conversation doesn't change. I'd still say the same thing. You got to charge a lot of money for these. But man, talk about a moneymaker, to be able to use this machine and get that off the floor and make your jobs go so much faster. But it's not only that. It's cutting the aggravation down. I mean, if you're on those aluminum oxide jobs, it's a miserable day. I mean, let's face it, it's tough to sand them floors. And then the edging off aluminum oxide is miserable as well. So you can get this thing damn close to the baseboard, and it cut out the aggravation. instead of one guy on the edge, or just, it's a miserable day, and one guy on a big machine and cutting and going through. Then at the end of the day, you get all the sandpaper at the end of the day, and that's even more depressing. Like, holy smokes, look how many belts I burned. And you try to say, well, I'll use them on another job. Maybe I still have some life in them, but you pretty much burned them belts. So to be able to save the money and the aggravation and all that crap that goes into it, these aluminum oxide floors now, and especially, like, you also have them on engineered floors. And like we said, some of these other floors will remove, these other products will remove it, but chew the hell out of the wood. So there's nothing there. So you can't trust that system on an engineered floor, because they'll go through the wear layer. So, man, this is Rob and I have been wanting to talk about this for like a month. So I appreciate you coming on and kind of giving your expertise on this. So this is exciting for us. And all the distributors are loaded up, I understand. So we already got them out with distribution. So pretty excited about it.
Robbie, what's the life cycle on these pucks?
You're going to get about anywhere from 5 to 10,000 square feet. And I know that may sound like kind of a large gap in between. And that's a good segue to talk about the longevity in them is going to depend a little bit on how you treat them. One thing about these pucks is they are all metal. And as we know, there's a lot of friction being created between the machine and the hardwood itself. So we do recommend stopping every couple hundred feet and turning the machine over and just giving them a chance to kind of cool down, because you'll notice, as you run them, they do tend to heat up a little bit. So I will use this as a warning to say, don't grab them with bare hands if you've been running them for a few hundred feet. Use your mechanics gloves, or if you've ever bought the wire brush kit, those come with a great set of gloves and a 5-in-1 tool that also works very well on these pucks as well. So if you take care of them and you don't run them on a lot of sticky, hard to use surfaces, it's going to increase the longevity of them. That being said, if you do get them onto a job that has, maybe it had some wax on it or something that was a little bit sticky and it's starting to clog the pucks up a little bit, denatured alcohol and a kind of medium stiff brush helps to clean them up very well. So as long as you take care of them, you'll probably get that maximum square footage out of them.
When you were working with me in training, you didn't sound this smart. What happened? You sound much smarter now. Is that what the product management team has done for you?
Have you ever heard the phrase "fake it till you make it"?
You know something?
There you go.
You get a belt.
I was in a bar in Nashville that I've talked about before. I've seen these guys probably play 30 times. And there's a lead that's called the Don Kelly Band, and he's the leader of the band, and he's probably in his 60s. And he has a phenom guitar player that plays with him. He's like 18 years old. Now he's like 20. I've been seeing him for years.
I've seen that kid.
Okay, guy's awesome, right? Okay.
Yeah.
But when he plays, he basically stands in the spot and just plays. He doesn't talk. He doesn't do anything else. He just does his thing. Well, Don Kelly retired during COVID. And I thought, I wonder how this band is now. I went back to see him. And now that Don Kelly's gone, this kid is coming, he's all over the place. He's dancing, he's on the stage, he's singing, he's doing all kinds of stuff. So that's probably what happened with you with Rob. He sucks all the oxygen out of the room. There's no room for anybody else. Yes.
Rob's a showman. There's not room for two showmen. There has to be a supporting actor. No. And I was fine taking that role because there's not room for two showmen. There's got to be the supporting actor. And, that was my role. And I played it, I think, to a tier as best as I could.
Listen, I tell this to everybody. Nobody can take a punch like Robbie Smith. Nobody.
No.
He just takes it, laughs it off, comes back. Oh, my God. We had too much fun. We had too much fun. That was crazy how much fun we were having there.
There was some days where I felt it's hard to believe I'm getting paid for this because we're just having a ball.
That's because Rob's ego's out of control.
Well, the thing is, the easiest way to deal with that.
My ego's out of control. Oh.
The best way to deal with that is just fluff it up. I'd really play into it.
Easy, very easy.
Oh no!
I really wanted to implement coming out music for Rob, like when he comes in, like a WWE wrestler,
yes.
Introduce them and really to the whole
everybody
class.
Knows my wrestler entrance song is the first 30 seconds of Stranglehold by Ted Nugent. That's
I was going to start traveling with a smoke a smoke machine, really do it up. Really put the show out there.
I see why you guys got along now.
Everybody knows what a big Boston Bruin fan I am. Everybody knows that, right? So the first time
can I just introduce you for a minute? Can I interrupt you just for 1 second?
Yeah.
Sorry. Sorry.
Listen, I interrupt you all the time. Do you ever hear me apologize?
Okay, let me finish this story for you.
Never.
And so the first time I met Robbie, I was going, oh, you got a Boston Bruin hat on. I thought, oh, trying to suck up to the boss because you got Boston Bruin. Then the guy takes off his shirt and shows me a Boston Bruin tattoo on his shirt.
No, he did not take off his shirt. He rolled up his sleeve.
Okay.
There's a big difference.
Okay.
There's a big difference. See, you don't know the story.
You're
Well,
right.
it depends
Oh,
on
gosh.
Wayne.
But don't get me going about Uncle Stan stories. Robbie, what else are you guys fooling around with at product management that you can't really talk about?
Well, there are a few things. One thing that I can talk about and that I am excited about is a new finish that we have. It's been out on the market for maybe 6 months now. It's called Domo.
We already talked about that.
What?
I said,
just
sorry.
Listen,
I
Robbie,
said we already
I'm
talked about.
I'm going to give you a heads up about working with Wayne. When he does things like that, you're a steamroller. You just keep moving. You know what I mean? If a squirrel runs out in front of a steamroller, he doesn't stop. He just becomes part of the pavement. So
are we doing
when
Domo
Wayne
or
does
not?
things like that? No, don't. Yeah, we're not cutting any of this. Matter of fact. So when Wayne does something like that, you just keep going. Okay.
Okay.
Go.
Sorry to interrupt you.
All right. So as I was saying,
what did I tell you about apologizing for interrupting people? You're not going to do that. That's the show. That's the flavor of the show. Robbie, go. Wayne.
All right. Domo, new finish that we released about 6 months ago. It's just phenomenal to work with. Flow, leveling, crystal clear, especially at the price point that it's at. It's just a fantastic finish. One thing that is unique about it is we are selling it in a 5-gallon pail. I think that's the only finish that we currently sell in a 5-gallon pail. So big jobs. I think you save a little bit of coin buying it that way. But the thing that I love about this finish the most is the answer, or what it provides for the pastel colors, your whites, your grays, things like that. It is completely crystal clear. So you're not going to get any of that honey or orange type color that you might get from some of the other sealers in different lineups. It really answered a lot of situations for these whites and grays type colors to provide a clear sealer, for those type colors.
Nice.
Wow, listen to this kid, huh?
Yeah.
He's amazing. He's really corporate now. When you and I were playing with that Domo that day up in North Carolina, did you ever try I know we had talked about you were doing some mix-ins with it and tinting it, glazing it, things like that. Did you work with a trans tint in it?
I did work with the trans tint in it a little bit. Yes, it does well with the trans tint. It definitely can enhance a color that you're trying to match if you've got like a tough match or just trying to create a custom type look for a homeowner. You can put a little trans tint in there and really dial in, either a custom color or help create a blend for some of those tough floors.
And just as a disclaimer, be aware that those trans tints are pretty photosensitive sometimes, and they can fade a little bit if they're in a lot of the direct sunlight, but they can be a lifesaver in the right circumstances. I'm happy to hear you say that about Domo, because my brothers have been using it lately and raving about it. And that's like you said, the price point is great on it, and it can be a finish or a sealer, but that's having a crystal clear sealer like that is very important with these colors, as you say, and the way the industry is gone. So I think that's huge to have that filled. And I've said it before when it first came out, and when I started fooling around with it, is that if you're an oil-based guy and you're a little bit reticent to use oil-based finish, this is your lead into water-based finish world, because it is going to be the easiest water-based finish you'll ever use. So yeah, pretty I know people have accused me sometimes using big words like that, like I've got a thesaurus handy, like I don't know words like energized or enthusiastic or euphoric or excited or exhilarated or exuberant, but I do. Like,
You are amazing.
amazing or forthright and friendly, frisky, fulfilled, and generous.
There you go. You got it right there at your fingertips, huh?
It's up here.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah.
Hey, Robbie, what happened with you in the NWFA? Who did you tick off over at the NWFA?
As far as I know, no one.
How old are you?
35.
Hey.
Well, 30. I'll be
You're-
35 in December. 34.
You're 35 in December. You're 35.
Yeah.
Now, how many years have I put you in for the 40 under 40?
Oh,
Three years in a row. 3 years in a row. I have put this kid in 40
Okay.
under 40.
I see the problem.
Third generation, right? He's three generation. Oh, I know where you're going with this.
Mhm.
Oh,
Oh, I see the problem.
ah!
Yeah, come on, man. That was too easy.
Okay. That's why
That'd
I'm
be
here.
like that. That'd be like the last guy that got fired from a job is referring the next guy to a job. Also, I'll throw my weight behind it, Robbie. So
Oh,
you might as well clear a spot on the mantle for a place
didn't
for you.
I? I did that on purpose, Robbie. That was my way of getting Wayne now to throw your hat into the ring.
Okay.
I mean,
All
why
right.
wouldn't you be? Look at this kid, Wayne.
Yeah.
Third generation contractor. Bona training. Now he's moving up the ladder at Bona. He's going to be our boss in a couple of years, the way this kid's fast tracking everything.
Yeah.
But the 40 under 40, Wayne, I think we're going to need the old Highlander charm, as they would say, or the Nixon charm.
Well, it's actually the NWFA is asking for references right now. They're looking for people that want to be nominated, nominees. I should have said. I used the wrong word. Usually, I'm more gregarious and gutsy and grateful and good natured than that. All right. Well, Robbie, it's been a pleasure having you on.
Oh yeah, thanks for having me.
You go, wait, Robbie, give a shout out to your father. I met him at the convention, and what an awesome guy. You got to give him a shout out.
Yeah, he's a great guy, man. He taught me everything I know.
That's it? That's all you got for him?
Oh,
Wow, that was
yeah, Bob Smith.
Yeah.
Bob Smith. He really did teach me everything I know. I mean, I would not be here today if it wasn't for him. I wasn't the easiest to always deal with, but he stuck with me and taught me a lot, and was patient with me and let me learn a lot of things on my own the hard way, because that's the only way that I do learn things. He was patient with me, so I got to give it to him for that. And like I said, I really truly wouldn't be here without him.
Yeah, that's nice.
That's it. That's
yeah.
it.
And I met him down, I think, at the NWFA, and super good guy, man. And you could tell, man, he's damn proud of you, which he should be. You have really made a name for yourself. Usually when they start with Rob, we lose everybody. They don't go much further than that. But congrats on all. And I'll tell you something else. Having you around at any class, at any convention, anywhere where you get a chance we get a chance to use your knowledge is always a good thing, man, because you've done very well, and appreciate you're very analytical, and which helps. You're accepting and affable and affectionate and agreeable and altruistic, in fact, amendable and amiable, all those things. And so we appreciate you coming on the show.
Well, yeah, thanks. I appreciate that. That means a lot.
Yeah.
Robbie, do me a favor and give us your final thoughts on those new diamond plates.
My final thought is, do yourself a favor, go to your distributor, either pick up a set or order a set, because when that pre-finish refinish comes along, you'll be prepared and it won't be a nightmare for you. It's going to be a real walk in the park.
So another tool for the truck.
That's right.
And
There you go.
These ones will pay for themselves really quick in money and aggravation. So thank you, Robbie. All right. Well, hey, listen, this has been another episode of On the Floor with Wayne and Rob and Robbie. Please do stay tuned for another episode.